Hi, I'm Sabrina, Register Comcast Neighborhoods. Welcome to beautiful Saltwater State Park in Des Moines, the most used state park in the Puget Sound region, with an average of 750,000 visitors each year. The park is situated halfway between Seattle and Tacoma, and interestingly, in the mid-1920s, the two cities decided to bury a hatchet literally at the park as a symbol to end their competition. Aside from the stunning views, there are many reasons why people come to visit, even live here in Des Moines. Join us as we explore this inviting waterfront community. Nestled between two metropolitan cities, Des Moines is a quaint community that enjoys its close proximity to Seattle and Tacoma, but remains free of big city headaches and hurdles. Residents and visitors alike have easy access to the city's assets, and that includes miles of beachfront. Des Moines is nicknamed the Waterland City, and with good reason. Life here always has had a deep connection to the Sound. The town was even settled in the late 1800s because of the land's relationship to water.
Well, Des Moines happened because of this land. In the late 1800s, all up and down the Sound, everywhere there was a stream entering in the water, somebody built a mill and started logging. And that's how Des Moines Creek developed.
Getting around also meant navigating the water. With no wheeled vehicles and little wind, people coming to Des Moines or traveling elsewhere, like Seattle, relied on the Mosquito Fleet to get to where they were going. The last mill at Des Moines Beach Park in the early 1900s was never finished because the man in charge took off with all of the money, so the structure was converted into a dance hall. About the time the logging industry was fading, Herman Daddy Draper and Annie Mother Draper purchased the land for their orphanage, the Children's Industrial Home of Des Moines.
Daddy Draper, who had an orphanage in Des Moines, bought the inland part of the valley and made it Draper Park. And they operated this as a place for the orphanage children to play, but also to raise funds to support the orphanage by having the public pay to use the park. It was very, very popular.
That revenue, combined with the money raised by the children's musical performances in several states and Canada, made the orphanage unlike any other in the nation, self-sustaining with no funding from government or church sources. When the Drapers passed away in the late 1920s, the Swedish Covenant Church took over ownership. As immigrants, church members feared losing their heritage.
And the younger generation wanted to become Americans. They didn't want to go listen to Swedish. And so they bought the church camp, or created the church camp as a place where they would speak English and teach the children all about nature and having fun in the water. They did fishing and boating and camping and all kinds of things to keep their heritage intact, keep the kids interested.
The city bought the land in 1987 and has been managing it ever since. A few years ago, the property made it onto the National Register of Historic Places. A major renovation now underway will address the damage done after years of flooding. Look for the old tabernacle to be transformed into a state-of-the-art community facility by the end of the year. Adjacent to Des Moines Beach Park, the Des Moines Marina, which is a popular place, especially in summer.
The Des Moines Marina is the only marina on the east side of the Sound between Seattle and Tacoma. So even though we're in the middle of an urban area, we're fairly isolated as far as marinas go. Our market area is from South Seattle, really, all the way back out into the Renton Highlands, Kent East Hill, Auburn West Hill, and East Tacoma.
The marina can handle 750 boats in the water at any one time, and there's room for another 100 upland. All those boats turn the marina into an economic engine for the city. Joe, how important is the marina to the economy of Des Moines? How important is recreational boating to the city?
Well, the marinas will always be important because recreational boating will always be important. The Sound is a large, relatively safe body of water with lots of places to go, lots of things to do. So it's always going to be an important recreational activity, and it's always going to generate recreational dollars.
Marina revenues and bonding are funding a facelift for the 40-year-old structure.
We're really in the second phase of our marina master plan, so there's some extensive renovations going on. We're replacing all of our infrastructure, all of our power, all of our water distribution systems. The most obvious thing is we're replacing the old timber bulkhead with concrete and steel, and we're going to do some upland work and landscaping and more public areas, and we should be finished about November.
At the southern tip of town, a waterfront area Des Moines Mayor Bob Scheckler calls a gym.
Redondo is a very unique area of our city. It has a lot of amenities for the people that live down there and for people that like to visit the city, starting with a boardwalk, a fishing pier, Salty's restaurant, and the Mass Center, which is an aquarium that's used by the community college for its students and for the general public.
While many love to linger at the water's edge, you'll find that the people of Des Moines also love to play ball.
When you're building community, you need places for children and their parents to gather and grow and learn and be nurtured. And this is one of those places. It's a beautiful location. It actually also has a view of the Sound. It's used heavily from March through November.
The Stephen J. Underwood Memorial Park was opened in 2003 and named for a beloved officer who was killed in the line of duty 2 years earlier.
Steve was a hometown boy. He was born and raised here in Des Moines. And a couple of things about Steve that made the park just a perfect fit for naming it in his honor is that Steve loved baseball, and he also liked kids. He had a great affinity for kids, and the city was looking for a name for the park at the time that Steve was killed and left us, and it's just a wonderful tribute to Steve and a great way to keep his memory alive in the city of Des Moines and for the police department as well.